Hello YouTube, today we're gonna restore this Game Boy Color game that I bought for parts on eBay. Let's get into it. See what we got. We got a Nintendo Crumble logo. Let's try again. Let's blow the cartridge just to see if it gives us better results. This game is sold on eBay for around $40 to $50. So if we can restore it, it will be a nice sell for the store. I bought it for $20, so it was not that cheap. Let's open the game and see what we got. Right off the bat, I can see that there was water or liquid damage in this game. There's also signals that somebody already worked on this with no luck at all. It's very, very damaged. I honestly don't think we can save this board. Question is, could I use these chips on a different board to create a game that functions properly? Let's see if we're lucky and they work. So what we need to look for in this scenario is what kind of board we have. This game used this board. I will put it on the video for you to see it better. So what I did is research and find a game that uses the same board or a compatible one. I purchased this Japanese version of Yu-Gi-Oh for $5 on eBay. So let's open it and see if we find any difference. As you can see, this board is very similar to the one that we are going to try to save. Very, very similar. This is pretty much the same, even the same name, but ends with a 10 instead of a 01. I see there's also the same allocation on the chips. Everything looks to be very similar. The only issue that I see is there's a resistor on top of the chip on the right. I read a little bit that you can leave it there or remove it and the game will still function as normal. So let's start by removing the batteries on both boards. This is the first one. Now let's go ahead and remove the other battery from the donor board. After that's out of the way, we can start working removing the chips on the board that we are going to use for our brand new game. I will start using some insulating tape just to cover the resistors that are all over the board. I will not swap this because as it is the same board, I don't need to. I only need to swap the chips. So let's start with this one. We will add some flux, put it into our PCB holder, and I will start using my hot air station. I use it at 350 degrees with a medium or low flow of air. You have to heat while doing circular motion, and I like to move it with tweezers little by little. When the solder melts, you will be able to remove the chip. Now let's go ahead and remove the next one. Add some flux, and again heat with the hot air station. Same procedure. Hit it there, hit it here. And once it's hot, the solder will melt and we'll be able to pull the chip out of the board. Just like that. Now remove the insulation tape on the bottom. Now let's go with these other two chips. Heat it. Heat it a little bit more, grab it with tweezers, and here we go. Now let's go with the last one. Please remember, I'm not an expert. This is a hobby of mine that I like a lot, and this is also a side hustle for me. So I'm just showing you what works for me. So now with the board, with no chips, we will go ahead and give it one good clean with IPA, cotton swab, or and toothbrush. We have to remove all the flux residue on the board. Let's put as much as IPA as we can. Put some more here and there. And also help yourself with a toothbrush. After you're happy with the cleaning of the board, now let's go ahead and work on the board that we are removing the chips from, which is the original game. Okay. Let's just look at the difference on the damage, on the condition of the boards. So let's start again by bringing the insulating tape. I will use way less now. If I lose a resistor, I will just get one from the other board. Again, bring the PCB holder, put this in place. Add some flux, just like that, on each side. And let's start working with our rework station. Take a photo of the orientation of the chip so you don't mess it up later. Or you can also guide yourself with this video. After removing it, let's go back to the board, to the donor board, and now you need a lot of patience because you have to align the chip to the pads the best possible way that you can. It might take a minute. Everything is sticky with thanks to the flux. So after you get it in position, start by soldering one of the tiny legs. This one is the toughest in my opinion because of the size of the legs. You just have to be very patient and go little by little, step by step, one by one. Okay, you got it. Just put some very tiny bit of solder into your tip of the iron and go one by one all the way to the top, making sure that each leg is making a good connection to the board. After that's done, let's flip it to the other side and start doing that same thing all over again. I wasn't happy with the initial result, so I'm gonna go again and resolder all of these joints. I think I just bridged a couple of them, so let's bring the wick and remove the solder. Like I said, you have to be very patient with this. Put some more solder into the iron tip, just a tiny bit, and go back to what we were doing. You have to have a visual indication of the solder being melted. That means that you have a good connection after you leave your iron. After that has been done, let's double check to see if we can find anything that might be not well connected. I think that's fine. So we'll move forward to the next chip. But before, we need to clean again with some IPA, remove all the flux residue. So now let's remove the second chip on our game. Let's do this quicker because we already saw this. So I'll just use the Super Mario Star to be as fast as possible. And here we go. Now, again, let's put it in place. Hold it with tweezers, applying a little bit of pressure. You just have to be patient because any kind of force will move it, just like it happened right now. And I just hold it with my hands, with my fingers, and start soldering each joint again. Let's zoom in. That now is in place. So let's go to the other side just to keep it in place. Oh, I move it a little bit, but I think it's good enough. So now that it's on place, these legs are bigger, so we can actually hit them and apply a little bit of solder so the connection is strong. Looks good. Now let's go to the other side. After that has been done, let's go for the third chip. Add some flux. Not that much. Oh my god. And again, let's use our rework station. I'll try to push it with tweezers. Here we go. Remember the orientation. And bring the board once again back. Let's put the chip in place and let's start soldering those joints again, one by one. Some people like to put it in place and then apply some heat with the rework station, but in my experience, you have to reflow them with the iron tip, all of them anyways, because there's always a faulty connection. So I'll just go ahead and do the reflow from the beginning, so I don't waste any time. Again, these are tiny legs on the chip, so just put some some solder into the iron tip and start heating each one of them and making sure that it has a good connection. Now this side, same thing. Sorry for the poor focus on my camera. A little bit more of solder. And here we go again. Final side. Looking good. So let's go for the final chip. Finally, let's add some flux to each side again. Bring the hot air gun, heat it. My tweezers are ready. Not yet. A little bit more of heat, and here we go. We have finally successfully removed all the chips. I'll bring the board back in, put this in place, hold it, zoom it so you can see. Hold it now with tweezers in place, and let's start soldering each joint. This one is very, very easy, so it won't take long. It's only also 8 joints. We don't need to hold it with tweezers anymore. So let's go back and put some fresh solder into this connection, just like that, and continue with the rest of the joints. That looks good. We have successfully transferred all the chips from our monster warrior, or what was the name? Dragon Warrior monster game. And now let's give it the clean of its life because flux is all over the board. And I have seen many times after I do a reflow using a lot of flux, the game doesn't start because flux interrupts the connection between board and chips. So let's use way lots of IPA, cotton swabs, and toothbrush. Looks good. Looks fairly well in my opinion. Now let's put it together. I ended up putting the screw, so I removed that from the final video. So let's now try to test it. Like I mentioned on one of my previous videos, normally it takes 2 or 3 attempts after a reflow for a game to boot. So second one, not good. And here we go. We finally got a Nintendo logo. Yes, it is working. Look at that, Enix, before joining Squaresoft. Dragon Warrior, that was the name of the game. Let's create a new game. Of course, it won't save. We haven't put a new battery, so let's go ahead and do that. I have explained that in many, many videos with Pokemon games. So now let's remove the screw. I'll just speed up to install the battery so you guys don't get bored. Let's just remove the old solder from each path, 1 and 2. In this game, I will install a battery holder. I think it adds a lot more of value than a normal battery, just because whenever whoever owns this will be able to easily swap batteries in the future. So, like we have said in many videos, the white metal part is on the negative side. So let's put it in place, put some solder into the iron, hold it with tweezers, and heat on the pad. After that's done, flip it to the other side, and now it doesn't move because it's in place. It's solder on the other side. So let's bring the solder, heat, and apply. Looks shiny and nice. Go back to the other side just to make it look better. Apply some solder, and here we go. Bring the new battery. This is a CR1616. Snap it in place. Check the voltage. That's perfect. And looks good. Don't forget to clean after installing the battery holder, IPA and cotton swab, your new best friends. And after all of that work, I apply a layer of the oxide of camera. I have done that in many videos as well. So let's put it back into the Game Boy and see what we got. Again, the logo. This happens also when you apply the oxide. Okay, second attempt is fine. I know very little about this game, so I will play it a little bit off camera just to get to the point that I can save to test the saving capabilities of this cartridge that we just repaired. It looks very good actually. I know this is like a Pokemon like game that you can raise monsters and stuff like that. So let's save here in the journal. I'll call those 3 and let's turn it back on and see if we got a save file. This was a fast method to repair or restore one game that has this kind of damage. And yes, look at that. We have a save file. So we have successfully restored this game. Hope you guys enjoy it. Subscribe and see you in the next one.